So we have a very interesting surprise.
And if my hands are shaking, that's because I'm so surprised.
We also have this one. I was expecting something in the mail like that I ordered from Amazon, a Bratz doll. I noticed that the package was weirdly shaped. It's funny because like I've kind of grown fond of Lanie in recent years, even though originally she was one of the Girl of the Years that I was like, oh, another blonde.
I think her book was one of the first Girl of the Year books that I found in the Salvation Army. It was like to a doll we didn't have. And she's from Massachusetts, like us, which I think is really cool.
Yes. Mini kid here. It's funny because last fall at the flea market, so in 2019, the seller we got McKenna from had a few of the Be Forever minis. They had Kit and Mary Ellen, but they were, I think, $10 each. When we thought about buying them, but then we ended up going inside and finding Melody's mini doll, so we bought Melody's mini doll instead.
And we would have bought Kit.
Yes, and I wanted to buy Kit.
Old Kit mini doll.
Yes, so it worked out really well. So thank you guys so much. We'll be sending you a thank you card. We really appreciate it, and obviously you guys will be getting a transformation of these dolls in the next clip. So thank you so much. So the really cool thing about Lanie is that she has the old version of the eyes. Now, what I mean by that is American Girl changed over their hazel eye color in 2010, and Lanie is the Girl of the Year 2010, which means that halfway through her production they switched to the newer eyes, which indicates to me that this Lanie was one of the first that like probably came out, because the later ones would have the same eyes as Rebecca, and if you put them side by side, you can see here that Lanie's eyes are a lot brighter and greener, whereas Rebecca has the darker hazel eyes, more like Colleen's natural eye color, and whereas Lanie's kind of are more like mine in certain lighting. So that's really interesting. I mean, that's not to say like she's rare. I just mean that it's an interesting variation. It's like Rebecca dolls, the ones with these eyes, are from 2009 or early 2010. So you can kind of age them based on subtle differences. I'm not really sure why American Girl discontinued them, but my Girl of the Year 2014 Isabel has the eyes like Rebecca.
What threw me off a bit was that Shelly's Felicity is so much older than Lanie.
Yes.
That even though it's technically like the same kind of eye color, they like do look subtly different than Lissy's.
Yes. So
but you can tell that another Lanie would have a Rebecca eye coloring.
Lanie and Kit obviously need baths. So I'm going to start with washing their stuff. Now these tights are from a Girl of Today outfit from 2005. So they are very light and I don't want to mix them in with the darker colors, so they're going to go in their own bin. But Lanie's meat dress and underwear are darker. So they're going to go in here with some color catchers, along with Kit's dress. And Kit's little bloomers can go in with the lights. So American Girl clothes do bleed a lot, so it's better to over separate them than not. I've had some disasters doing their laundry before. Now this is a real American Girl bow. We think it came with Emily's holiday outfit, but we're not, you know, it could be pretty generic, but you can tell something was sewn to it once, so we're going to put that in with the light colored things because that should be washed. And then all of these elastics need to be cut out. I recommend cutting elastics out of doll hair because try to rip this out, it'll take hair with it, so you don't want that. So Kit here, we're just going to wash like a normal Barbie, so we're just going to move her aside. She actually smells pretty good. I think it's from their house, but I don't really know where her torso has been, where her stuffing has been, so I like to clean that too. But to clean her hair and her like limbs, I want to keep everything attached right now. Now she's pretty tight. She doesn't need to be restrung. You can see she holds her pose pretty good. So if I was going to restring her, I would clean everything first, and then I would go and like cut off her limbs and separate them out and clean the torso and then restring everything, but she doesn't need to be restrung. I will have a tutorial eventually on how I restring American Girls. So I like to use baking soda, and you can definitely use a magic eraser. A lot of people like using magic erasers. I just don't really like them. I use them for my house cleaning job, and they just fall apart. I'm like really aggressive when it comes to scrubbing, so I only use them sparingly. I like to use a toothbrush to get into all the nooks and crannies. Now this red mark appears to be a stain, so we'll have to take care of that separately. And I will use dish soap on her limbs after to help get rid of the baking soda. So I do have a magic eraser. We'll see if that takes off the mark. Nope, it's not taking it off. Sometimes if I notice I missed a spot after the doll's all clean, I'll use a magic eraser. Just because baking soda leaves can like get messy, as you can see here. Now I could clean Lanie in the sink like I am going to with Kit, and at some point I'm going to obviously have her in there to rinse. But I find because these American girls are so much larger, I just happen to like to lay them on a towel and do it this way. But if you get them wet, it's not a big deal. Nothing's going to happen. There's just stuffing, elastics, some like little clamp things to hold their joints in place. There's nothing exotic really about the way they're put together except their eyes. The first time I washed my Samantha doll's hair, I was 8 years old. I didn't know what I was doing. I did it in the bathtub with the faucet on at full speed, and she lived and was fine. So. We're gonna wash Kit. She doesn't have a cloth body, so that makes it a lot easier. Because these mini dolls are very, very much like regular, typical fashion dolls because she has a plastic body and this hair is just like doll grade Connect-Lawn. So we're just gonna wash her with dish soap and then baking soda. And then we're just gonna check her. She's good. And then we're going to use dish soap to wash her hair. Now you're going to notice I do the same thing with Lanie. I use the same products. I just am a little more careful about getting water on her face and in her eyes. But they're really not all that different. I always say that in all my American Girl transformations because I know so many people are really scared of doing stuff to their American Girls. But if I could wash my dolls at 8 years old and they're still around and they look good, you can see them in my American Girl collection videos. My Samantha named Luca, Collins, Molly doll, Addie. These were all dolls that got abs and stuff when we were kids, and they're fine. And then I'm just going to take a little conditioner. She doesn't need much. Got like no hair. And we're just going to comb through. So Colleen is going to add the detergent into the laundry. So they're not stained, so they don't need OxiClean, but we just put some homemade laundry detergent in there. But you can use any kind of laundry detergent. I just recommend that if you're using a store kind that's dyed in any way, like so if it's blue in color, make sure you dissolve it really well because sometimes if you put too much in a small load, the blue dye can stain things. Okay, so back to Lanie. I'm going to use dish soap on her. Sometimes I forget to use dish soap on them when I clean them, but I like to do it if I remember because it helps get some of the baking soda off and it smells good and it also is like antibacterial. The reason I do the baking soda first on the American Girls is just because there's such a larger surface area with more crevices, so I feel like I need the soap to kind of help get rid of all of the baking soda residue, and I like to do the soap in the sinks, which can get them very wet. We're even going to do her face. Her ears. And her torso is just going to get wet anyways because we're going to wash that too. So I don't really care if she gets her torso wet. But I do want to try to avoid getting her eyes wet. So I'm going to put it on a really low stream. And keep it really close to her face so it doesn't splatter. And yeah, her body is going to get wet, but like I said, I am washing that after. So now that Lanie's body's clean, we're gonna do her hair. Now honestly, her hair's kind of a wild card. I really don't know how much work it's gonna need because sometimes it can surprise you. I thought I was gonna have to flat iron my McKenna doll's hair for sure, and it was fine. So I'm gonna wash her hair twice with dish soap. And I don't mind getting it right up to the wig cap. It's not gonna cause the glue to loosen. They use really tough glue. If you've ever watched someone try to re-wig an American girl, they usually end up ripping the wig and they have to use spoons and all kinds of crazy chemicals to get the wig cap to come off. So it's on there pretty good. It's not gonna come off just from washing it. And we're gonna wash twice because the reason I always wash their hair twice is once to clean out the debris and get anything in the hair that's living in the hair out, and then the second time to actually go back and clean the hair without all of the stuff in it and to make it smell nice. And I like to use dish soap, you don't have to, but they say use mild shampoos. You don't need to, they don't have real hair. It's plastic, that's all their hair is. Now you'll notice I try to tip her head down when doing this. I don't put her in the sink like so because I want gravity to pull the water away from her eyes. It's okay if you get water behind there because there's a way to get it out, but ideally you want to avoid that. So now we're going to put a ton of conditioner in her hair. Again, you can use whatever kind you like. Just be careful, like certain conditioners can leave like a really gross residue. I'm going to move her to the towel to detangle so I can lay her flat. And I'm starting with a wide tooth comb. And I'm just going to go to town. You do not have to exclusively use a wig brush on American Girl hair. The reason why that's recommended is because it's made in a way that it won't tug at the wefts of their wigs. But using regular combs and stuff isn't going to do any harm to their hair. It's not going to like make it frizzy.
I'm working in sections with Lanie's hair because she has a large wig and it was very tangled. With fashion dolls, I usually can just grab all of their hair and detangle it at once because I'm very fast at combing and detangling. And yes, I am kind of an aggressive brusher.
So I've gone through Lanie with the wide tooth comb and now I'm going to work on her with the fine tooth comb. I decided to spare you the agony of watching me do it. So you can see I have her sitting up. That's because it's very awkward to get that, like, smooth everything down with an American Girl because they have a wig, so that's why it's kind of easier to sit them. Lanie's not particularly happy with me. She doesn't understand why she's wet and covered in conditioner. Now, some of her hair is really nice, but some of it's really gross, so we'll see. And you can see I'm not even snagging the wig cap because I'm trying to, like, I'm not going right down, I'm kind of putting it at an angle so I don't catch any of the wefts. Okay, now I'm going to rinse Lanie and we'll get on to the next step. Usually for 2 or 3 fashion dolls, I would just heat up a bowl for the boil wash in the microwave, but I find that for the bigger dolls, I really want the water to be truly boiling and I want it to be evenly heated, and the microwave just isn't as effective at doing that, so I'm heating it up in my kettle. Alright, my water is boiled. We lost power for like a minute there because it's storming outside. So I'm going to fill up my bowl, and first I'm going to dunk Kit. So Kit's all set. We're just going to run her under some cold water and we're going to put some diluted gel all over her bob. Unfortunately, Lanie's hair is so frizzy that I am not going to be able to keep the curls because after conditioning it still felt really frizzy. So American Girls do have Kanekalon. It's human grade Kanekalon, so it is probably going to go straight in the boil wash. Now sometimes you'll get lucky and they won't. They'll still keep some of their like wave, but if they weren't this frizzy, what you could do is like comb hot water through their hair. So for instance, my full-sized Kit doll, she has a bob and it turns under. But when I want to routinely kind of maintain her hair, I will just take some hot water on my comb and I will comb it through the areas. So this does mean that I'm going to have to recurl Lanie's hair, but it's okay, tutorial. Shockingly, the boil wash seems to be taking out most of the frizz. Some dolls are really bad and need to be flat ironed.
So this is kind of a teaser for my curling doll hair tutorial. I decided to stick some of the footage in here because it was part of a transformation process. Now, I honestly hadn't done a set of curls in my doll's hair in a long time. I used to do it regularly way back in the day when I started collecting again. I would always keep my curly haired dolls curly, but it just got to be too much of a hassle to maintain. Like all of my Meg dolls from my Disney collection, when their hair got dusty, I couldn't just comb through it because it would mess up the curls and then I would have to redo it. But I managed to work out Lanie's hair even though it had been a while.
Alright, so I curled Lanie, which there's going to be a tutorial on that specifically, so I just included fast forwarded clips. But now I want to make sure that there's no water behind her eyes. So this is the trick. You can do this to get rid of cloudy eyes in dolls too. So if their eyes clouded, this will get rid of the fogginess in them.
So you're going to put your blow dryer on cold. Do not, whatever you do not put it on warm or hot. It will melt the plastic of the face. It'll melt the eyelashes. Do not use it. So put it on the cold setting and then press it over the doll's eye, and you can even kind of angle it in the corners, and this will flush any water that fell behind her eyes during the washing process out. And like I said, it will take care of any cloudiness in other kinds of dolls too. I always do this just as a preventative measure. Lanie didn't even have water behind her eyes, but I just like to be safe.
So as I mentioned, I want to wash Lanie's torso and her stuffing. You can replace the stuffing too if you're really sketched out by it. So I've got to take her little head off here. I'm just using this random tool I found to loosen the knot. Especially because it's wet, so it's going to be harder to do. But especially like with Lanie, I had to curl her hair. I wanted her body for this, and I don't want to do it after I've washed her body because if there's any dust in the body, especially on the white body dolls, what's going to happen is the dust is going to leave ring marks on the torso. So get them wet first, do their hair, and then wash the body. I'm just going to put all of Lanie's stuffing in my laundry tub, and then I don't need to restring her, but like I said, if I would cut the strings, put all the limbs aside, and wash this torso first. So that's what I'm going to do. So this is what her torso and stuffing looks like soaking. I'm just going to leave that for a little bit. It's not super gross. So this is the hair ornament that was in Lanie's hair. I don't think it's actually American Girl, but the elastic was all stretched out and gross, but these beads could be useful for crafting. So I'm going to cut them off these strings, and then I'm going to see if head pins can fit in them. So the holes were too small for head pins to fit through, and the string is like somehow fused in the middle, so I can't pull it out, unfortunately. But that's okay because these would still be great to glue on hair pieces, so I'm just going to add them to one of my little boxes of odds and ends. So Lanie's clothes have soaked long enough. I washed her and Kit, and I also curled Lanie's hair while these were soaking. So I'm going to rinse them in cold water and then hang them up to air dry and put in the pan. So I know this is Lanie's transformation video, but we have McKenna out here because I decided to look at clothes for Lanie on Mercari and eBay, and I did find some good deals, but they're just taking longer to ship. But I decided while I was at it to look at stuff for McKenna, because when I got McKenna last year at the flea market, the only thing I bought her was her meat outfit. We bid on these two items from the same seller, actually at the same time, just on one of us was on the Chromebook and one of us was on the desktop. So we have her pajamas and her school outfit. Ooh, those are cute. So these are her cute little slippers, and these are her pajama pants, and her pajama shirt, really cute. And then this is her school outfit. This is my favorite thing from her collection. It's beautiful sweater. This is gonna look so good on Claire.
McKenna's like, it's mine.
So McKenna finally has two things to call her own. So we have Lanie. I'm about to pierce her ears. I like to pierce my girl of the years and like truly me dolls just because it's fun to pair different homemade earrings with their outfits. And also if it's a certain historical character, if they're kind of a little bit on the shabbier side like Caroline, I'll like to give them ear piercings. So I've been doing this myself for 4 years. I do have a tutorial on my channel. So I'm gonna give her these blue birthstone studs to match her dress. I'm gonna mark kind of roughly where I want the holes to go. Honestly, it's a lot easier piercing Mattel dolls than Pleasant Company. I want to make her earrings to match her meet outfit. I bought these 2 packs of charms at Walmart. Now, these aren't like the best deal. It's about $3.88, so about $4 for one set of charms. And obviously, if you're making earrings, you'll want like matching ones. So I wanted these dragonflies for her meet outfit because they're green like the stripes on her dress, and they'll also match the dragonflies on her headband, which I have to make that too because I didn't get her headband with her. I already kind of know what I'm going to do for these earrings. I have these blue beads that are clear, and they're like the exact color of the stripes on her dress. So now I want to make Lanie a headband because I obviously don't have her original one. So I did look on eBay for lots that had her shoes and maybe like extras, and I did see quite a few like of her headbands sold separately, but honestly they seem to not age the best. They seem to get really faded with age, and I like to make her accessories, so I don't mind. So I wasn't able to get any elastic cord, which would have been ideal because it's supposed to be kind of like a stretchy headband. All the elastic was sold out because people are making face masks. So Colleen found this green ribbon, which is wide and it has this really cool stitching. It's not perfect match, but it'll definitely get the job done. So I'm gonna measure it out a little bit longer than I want. And it's a pretty like nice quality ribbon. It's like really heavy and thick. So I think it'll be perfect for what I need. So I'm gonna melt the edges. Because I don't want this to come apart. And because I melted these, I don't really need to like fold it over. I'm just gonna keep it as is. And I'm gonna sew snap on. I used to glue my snaps on, but I found that the hot glue method isn't really ideal. If you can sew it, it's better off to sew it because I feel like it lasts longer. I feel like the stuff that I've glued, like snaps, they tend to come off. So I've sewed the snaps on, and now I'm going to attach these dragonflies. These are like little iron-on appliques, but I thought like the color of this dragonfly in particular would be perfect, and also this one with the blue. So I'm going to sew these on. And Little Bee Forever Kit, she's only about 6 years old at most, and she has the hard plastic body here, which makes sense because they discontinued the torsos with Isabel in 2014. So she's really cute. She's got a little underwear too, which is great. Not the shoes, but Kit can't complain. She gets to have these all to herself. And this is the lovely mini kit, who doesn't really look any different than she did before, but she is washed. And she's super cute. And my spoiled kid doll now has 3 minis all to herself. She has the original version of mini kit with the old school outfit. Then she has this kit with the Be Forever outfit. And then she's Ruthie. All of whom are secondhand and none of whom have their shoes, but she still has 3 to herself. This is a beautiful Lanie before. This is probably not her most flattering look. The camera's not really picking up on it, but she's super grubby. I wonder if you can see. Yeah, you can see she has this huge streak mark over here. And yeah, she's just really grubby. She's less greasy than my McKenna doll was, but just as grubby. And the cool thing is you can see those are her meat underwear under these tights. Now this bow is real American Girl too. I haven't figured out what it is. It kind of looks newer because it's got the elastic band on it. Maybe something for Samantha, frilly frock. And then you can see her Connect-Lawn hair is in really bad shape. American Girls all come with Connect-Lawn hair, if you're wondering. Human grade. And that's what she looks like from the back. So,
and, you know, it doesn't really surprise me that she's this dirty because she's 10 years old now.
yeah, it's pretty insane. I mean,
And since she's one of the older Lanie dolls, she's probably more than 10 years old.
and the cool thing about Lanie being the girl of the year 2010 is that 2010 was the year that I started to kind of get back into dolls. I didn't purchase any that year, but that was when, after I finished cosmetology school, my dad was going through chemo and radiation, and I bought some Barbie collector books, the Ultimate Barbie book, and then I also bought the Disney Doll Identification and Price Guide to keep myself busy, and it was those books that got me back into collecting, namely the Disney one. So this is Lanie before, and this is Lanie after. So you can see that she has her earrings, which I'll put a picture in. They're these really cute little dragonflies. That's her headband, which because it snaps on instead of ties, it doesn't mess up her hair. She's so beautiful. And then these shoes are the reason why it took me so long to finish this video, because I was in the process of acquiring some things from Lanie's collection for her, and I wasn't sure how I was going to end up getting the shoes because I got her with her dress and her underwear, so I didn't need those pieces, but I wasn't sure if I would get the shoes and a lot with some of her other outfits. I ended up having to buy them separately. I paid a little bit more for them than I wanted. They were about $16, which is kind of ridiculous, but if you buy American Girl shoes on eBay, you know that certain ones will sell between like $12 and $20. So these ones are actually hard to get in nice condition because the blue discolors. These look like brand new, which is great. She's beautiful. And then this is her hair. It's a little bit smushed looking because she was standing on my desk while I was waiting for things to arrive in the mail, but you can see the curl tutorial, how it looked right after I did it. But I think she came out really beautifully and was well worth the aggravation of trying to curl her hair. So I do have quite a few outfits for her. So most of them are here. I'm waiting for one to come in the mail. And I will be filming an episode of Dolly Designs, which is my doll like craft series kind of, I guess you could say, where I'm going to be making her earrings and hair accessories to go with those outfits, as well as I showed you a clip of McKenna's outfits that I got too. I'll be doing some things for McKenna in that video as well, and also Grace has something coming in the mail. If you're interested in seeing what else I got for Lanie, then feel free to wait for that video. There will eventually be pictures of her on my Flickr if you want to see pictures of her or read more information about her. And until next time, love your dolls, love yourself, and love your life.